What's going on, everybody? We are back. You see it. That's right. Thank you for tuning in to SKF Weekly. We are here. You see it. Your man Ron, my brother John. Jose's not here holding us down today, but that's okay. We rocking with him. He'll be here the next time around. Appreciate
Definitely.
you as always, my brother. But yeah, man. How you doing, John? How's everything
Oh
going, brother?
man, I'm chilling, man. You know how it is. Another day. We in here. We're in the building. I'm excited to talk Knicks. You know what I mean? As a matter of fact, I'm so
Yeah.
excited I had to put my entire title in front of me.
It's all right, brother. We on a little different setup today than the normal for our Monday night shows. So if it looks a little different, that's why. But pretty much, the same type of situation. You know how it is. Anyway, yeah, man, this was a pretty eventful week for these New York Knicks. It turned out pretty good, if you ask me. Yeah, I'm pretty excited. There was a lot of things to come out of this. We had some really I would say surprising moments that the night of that I guess it was the main night this week of the in-season tournament games. Like
Yeah, everybody was playing.
it was frantic, man. It was frantic. The pace was frantic. Teams were doing stuff we haven't seen them do ever, like trying to run the score up. It was just wild, bro. What do you think? Just about the whole in-season tournament thing and how this whole thing has been shaken out.
I'm enjoying it. I mean, for me, having to see games of this nature, of this magnitude, to start off, November into December, and it's like something we haven't seen before. So there's a little fresher breath there. You know what I mean? Like it's brand new, it's fresh, it's unique. And I like that they got all the teams going after something. You know what I mean? I like the players are involved. The players are, locked in. So I'm enjoying that. And yeah, that week was crazy because Boston was up like 40 in the beginning. We was like hard pressed. We was like, oh man, this ain't gonna look so good, even if we came away with a win, but it turned out, somewhat in our favor, you know what I mean, towards the back end of that game. So yeah, but the Knicks have done their job, man. We're here, we're in the building. We have an opportunity to surprise Milwaukee this coming Tuesday, although I think they know sort of what we're gonna bring. So more or less, we just gotta hit big shots down the stretch, and we gotta keep it close. That's the big one for us.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's been it's been pretty exciting. I've enjoyed it. I didn't know exactly what it was going to be and where it was going to go, but everything I've seen so far up until this point, I've liked, and it makes me say, okay, well, I mean, the NBA knows what they're doing. If they had a plan and they thought it was going to turn out this way, I'm okay with it. I can rock with it. Let's see what else they got cooking up their sleeves. So far so good. I'm really excited about the aspect of this in season thing in Vegas and what that's going to turn out to be. So real quick, this is interesting. I was on Knicks and Bruises earlier tonight, and Tony had brought up something about the schedule after the Milwaukee game. So I just want to know what your thoughts are. So apparently, after the Milwaukee game, which takes place on the 5th, the next regularly scheduled game is on the 11th. So the Knicks will get about 5 or so days of rest. It's if they get knocked out by Milwaukee, or they beat Milwaukee, go to Vegas and play for however long they're going to play. So my question to you, would you be happier if the Knicks beat Milwaukee and got into the Vegas tournament thing and got to play, or would you be happier if they got the 5 days of rest before having to play the next game? What's your thoughts?
I would want them to play all the way through because that 5 days is going to affect them during the regular season. I feel like you take that much time off, I'm sure that Thibodeau is going to have some practices in the mix of that. You're not going to get a full 5 days, but I just expect them to. I rather them play for something because at least their minds are in it and they're engaged and they'll have a glimpse of what playoff basketball is going to look like. So they're well prepared when the time comes for the regular season is over and you go right into the playoffs. I expect the Knicks to make the playoffs. So For me, I think why not get a little glimpse of it now? Get a little taste of it now that you're in it. So I would like them to actually get past the Bucks, and then
Mhm.
I would like to see that happen, even if they get bumped the following round. But I want to see them at least compete.
I thought you might say that. I feel the same way. I agree, and I'm even more worried about them having that much time off. Like I don't, I don't want to see that sometimes too much time is just not a good thing for any teams. But in regards to the Knicks, I think the Knicks need to keep that momentum going. I mean, we won 3 in a row. Going into this next game, so I think you want to kind of, don't get too far away from it. We're already getting a little break. Last game was Friday. The next game is Tuesday. So there's a good amount of time between the two games.
Yeah, I mean
Um,
that's a lot of time off. You know what I mean?
yeah,
That's good
yeah,
rest
yeah,
for those players who have like these little nagging little injuries. So um, yeah, I want to see them play through it.
yeah. No, I agree. Shout out to the chat. Appreciate you guys. Thank you for tuning in and rocking with us and being here and supporting the show. Thank you as always. Uh, the show is nothing without you guys showing the love. Dwayne Dennis in the building, Kerry Cox. I know this is, there's a lot going on once again, a lot of Nick content on. We got Monday Night Football on tonight. So appreciate you guys just tuning in, showing love, and looking forward to the replay gang, so you guys can catch up on whatever we've got cooking tonight. So, you know what? Why don't we start with the best possible news? It was kind of unexpected, surprisingly, because I didn't even think about it. But when you think about it, it makes a lot of sense. Like it shouldn't be unexpected. And that news is, folks, Julius Randle, the player of the week in the Eastern Conference. 24.7 points per game, 13.3 rebounds per game, 7.3 assists per game, and a 3-0 record for the Knicks. I mean, shout out to Julius Randle. Congrats to him. It's well deserved, and it's really nice to see him kind of rounding back into his form that we're kind of used to, or at least have been grown accustomed to with regards to Julius. What's your thoughts on how Julius has been playing so far, John?
I mean, I think he's played well. I think he's done his job for the most part. I mean, there are lapses to his game, um, but again, that's what you're going to get with Julius from time to time. But I think for the most part, he's played solid basketball, and he's gotten his team involved. He's engaged in the conversations in the huddles. He's engaged during the play, on the court, and noticed that him and Barrett were talking during the play-in tournament. They were sort of having their sort of. I think Barrett was speaking about what he can possibly be seeing on the court when he's actually, hitting his jump shots, and what to expect from the defense. So I like that he's engaged and he's talking to his teammates, and I think for right now he's going through a nice stretch, and I really hope that he can continue this a little further, because we're gonna need him. We're gonna need him to come away victorious, and to get out of the East with a good record. We gotta, Julius got to be a major part of that. So excited to see him start this play as of late.
Agreed. I say the same thing. And it kind of goes back to what we dealt with earlier in the season when Julius just didn't look right. We obviously didn't know anything was going on with him. We thought he was healthy, but we found out he still wasn't 100%. But the Knicks fans were really upset with the way Julius was playing, and a little concerned that this might be what do they call it, the Julius Randle off year, because apparently every other year he would have an off year. So they were a little worried about that. But yeah, in the end, you know what? It's what we've come to know and expect from him. He's playing the way we've used to seeing him play. The only thing that hasn't really come to form yet is his perimeter shot hasn't quite taken off yet. He's shooting around 27% from 3. So but that's probably going to even out in time. and I think we're in a really good spot right now. And the other thing from this is that he's become even a better facilitator because the Knicks are, as a team, moving the ball. So if Julius is averaging 3 or 4 assists normally, while the way he likes to move the ball, with the fact that the whole team is bought into it, it's allowing him to move the ball even more. So he's looking even better out there. I mean, every other game it looks like he's going to get a triple double the way he's going. So it's really dope.
I like that he's also, you're starting to see him work off the block a lot more this year than he's done in past seasons. Like he'll still get his perimeter game going, but you'll see him calling for the ball and isolating and going down into the block and working from that, 15 feet away from the basket versus 30 feet from the basket, So I like to see that. I like to see him, mix it up. And again, it's going to open up a lot of opportunities for not only him but for his teammates, as teams look to double him because he's a hard matchup, you know what I mean? So I think it's working to his benefit, and hopefully he continues to do that.
Yeah, I agree. So once again, I just want to shout out the chat. Thank you guys for tuning in. Please smash that like button on your way in or on your way out. Shout out to Just Knicks. Thank you for being here. Almighty Finesse, good to see you. King Ribby, always a pleasure, my brother. Hope you are doing well. We got a little special guest here today, chopping it up with us. MBK fam in the building. Let me get my guy up in here. Tony Crow in the building. What's good, my brother?
Fellas, it's been a long
What up, Tony? What's going on?
It's been a long time. Pleasure to be back.
Yeah,
man.
It's a triple header for me.
Yeah,
nice.
You putting in that time tonight, man. He's done Knicks and Bruises. I was on that with him earlier. Then he went over to the Queen's Court, and now he's chopping it up with us over here. It's still Knick fans, SKF Weekly.
And I probably still won't log in as many hours as you do on Saturday.
Saturday is ridiculous. I don't know what I'm on lately. I've been averaging 4.5. I don't know what we're doing. Okay, whatever.
Like when I be on that replay gang though, I'll be like listening in, or I'm traveling on my Sundays and I'm like listening in. I'm like, oh, I'm hearing that entire tour going into the city and back, and I'm like, yo, you just helped me ride all the way back home. I'm loving it.
At least I could do something.
Those
the
are
conversations, though. The conversations
are the best on road trips.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. This past Saturday was we had a really good time. It was a really good talk. So if y'all haven't checked out No Ledge from this Saturday, please do. I mean, I know as time changes, the conversation may change for you, but this Saturday was a pretty good conversation. So, yeah, man. So we were just talking about Julius Randle and him winning Player of the Week, and it's really nice to see him coming out of the criticism. And actually, I don't think Julius even thinks about the criticism. I think he's so far removed from that stuff. He doesn't pay attention to any of it these days. So it's really nice just to see him, for us as Knicks fans, to see him doing what we're used to him doing. What was your thoughts on that real quick, Tony?
Well deserved. I agree. He done been through the fire in New York. So I don't think there's any, like, he already walked through the fire, you know what I mean, and came out of it, dusted himself off. I don't think he even hears the chatter when there is chatter anymore. But yeah, to the fact that he worked his way as far as where he started to go ahead and win Defensive Player of the Week, Eastern Conference, Eastern Conference Player of the Week. I think that's huge, and what a week it was for him. You know what I mean? Like 2020 game, near triple double, like you said. Every other game, he back.
Yeah, he back, and he looks great out there, and the Knicks are going to be better for it. So hopefully he can continue and take that into this next game versus Milwaukee tomorrow. But let's see where it started, because you know what I mean. The Knicks had a good week. It had a good week. I think we might have predicted as such if we had a chance to predict. We didn't do the show last week, but if we were predicting, I think John and I would have been on the same page this week.
Yeah, I always have to say you're right about that one. The way it looked like matchups, it looked like we kind of were going to pick the same way.
Yeah, I feel like we would have been thinking the same thing because the Knicks look like they as John likes to say, you gotta get fat on these teams, man.
That's
Got
right.
gotta eat your food, man. Gotta eat your food.
Hibernation season, man. You got to get fat.
So you guys give predictions for the full week.
Yeah, we try to every week. We try to do whatever games is going on that week. We'll break them down and give our prediction for winners and losers.
See, I'm gonna give you a heads up. I don't do that anymore as of this year. Even on Queen's Court, I'll give the next game, but I'm on my tips one game at a time.
Yeah,
that's
you.
That's dope.
I bought in.
Nice.
So, I like that. Well, I mean, you don't got to worry about it today because Jose's not here running the show. We're not doing the predictions without Jose. Jose is the engine that keeps it going. So next week when Jose's back, we'll get back into our predictions. But yeah, so to start it off, man, Knicks had to go up against them Charlotte Hornets once again. Y'all know how much we love playing the Charlotte Hornets. So I think we played
and that was the third time, right? This season?
I think this is the third time, right? Yeah.
One preseason and two.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So, I mean, if you guys don't know, Knicks played the Charlotte Hornets and, they took care of business. Knicks went out there and beat the Charlotte Hornets 115-91. It was as close as you want to say to a wire to wire finish, for your basketball team. They basically just went out there and took care of business and did what John says. Gotta get fat on these teams that you should beat. And real quick, there's been a little controversy, guys. People have been kind of downplaying the Knicks, saying, you know what, all we do is beat the teams that have bad records. When we play a 500 team, we pretenders or something. And I had this to say. My thoughts was, okay, you're right. I mean, there's some truth to it, right? But how many times can you say that even though your team is losing to these teams that have 500 or better records, every game they play, except for the Pelicans game, I feel like a broken record when I say it, but it's the truth. Except for that Pelicans game, every game they played against these teams, they had a chance to win in the last 3 to 4 minutes each time. In some cases, they had the lead and lost the lead. So, I mean, you can't say that about a lot of teams. I'm feeling good about them. John, what's your thoughts on the Knicks in regards to that?
Listen, I ain't mad at it. Listen, those are the teams that we're supposed to win, right? Like, I ain't mad at that. Like, why am I going to be upset about winning games you're supposed to win? I would be upset if we were losing those games we were supposed to win, which we've done in the past. Like, let's take care of business, because at the end of the day, when we meet the teams that are gonna, like, the higher echelon teams, it's winning that's gonna keep us motivated to win those big games. You know what I mean? Or make us match up to the point where we have a chance at the end. If we start giving away games, that's gonna cost us in the long run. You know what I mean? So I prefer to win the games you're supposed to win. I'm not concerned about, our matchups with the 50-50 teams or whatever. Like, that's going to, it'll be what it is once we play the game. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I like our odds when it comes to it. I like the team, the way it's been developed. I like the piece that we added. The piece that we added fits. And listen, we're rocking. Nothing wrong with that.
I'm with you. Tony, what's your thoughts on it?
I said it a few weeks ago before this 3-game win streak. We beating the teams we're supposed to beat, and just like John said, we that's one of the problems we've had even in this Tibbs era. We could beat anybody and we could lose to anybody. And that's the difference. To me, that's the difference in a perennial playoff team and just a team that could get in, could get out, a team that could get in the play in, make it in, or you know what I mean? Like we had it a year in, year out, year in. But even in those 3 years, you know what I mean? It was that we could beat anybody, we could lose to anybody. this is the first time that we've been on this stretch where we're beating the teams we're supposed to beat, and like you're saying, Ron, we're in the games against everybody else. Now we need a statement win. You know what I mean? Continue doing this, but then tomorrow, tomorrow we have a chance for a statement win. You know what I
Right.
mean? But even the the Milwaukee games, which that'll be our third game against them as well. Like we've been in them.
Right. It's true. You know, I mean, that's what it is just factual. It is what it is, guys. And let's stop being this way with regards to our Knick team, man. We all right. We all right. So back to this game against Charlotte. You know, it was a nice game, man. The Knicks, you know, did what they needed to do. We got some really good performances. Emmanuel quickly went out there. He had 23 points. Julius Randle played really good in this game. 25 points, 20 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals. I mean, when's the last time you've seen Julius do something like that? Like, it was great to see. Jalen Brunson didn't really, you know, listen to this, guys. Jalen Brunson finished with 12 points, 7 assists, 3 steals. He took 9 shots. What? I mean, come on, man. It was just so nice to watch. Julius going bananas out there, quickly getting busy. Josh Hart had 17 points and 6 rebounds. RJ Barrett didn't have a great shooting night. He chipped in 16. But just the fact that Jalen Brunson, you know what a relief that must have been for him just to say, oh, I'll just take 9 shots tonight. Yeah, I'm good with my 12 and 7. Let the rest of these guys eat, man. I don't know, man. I felt really good. Some people were upset about how the Knicks looked like they you know, don't necessarily play up to the competition sometimes. But I think with Charlotte, in the Charlotte game, I think the Knicks did exactly what they needed to do and took care of business. Tony, what's your thoughts on how they actually fared against Charlotte?
Charlotte has been a problem for us in the past. Miles Bridges seemed to be like he treat Randall like Randall treats Sabonis. You know what I mean? Like it's personal.
Right.
And this is the year. This is the first year where granted he's dealing with other things. You know what I mean? I'm sure he's just happy to be playing basketball, but it looked different. Even I feel like Mitchell Robinson there was some rumbling, right? There was some chatter because we could have had Mark Williams, and Mark Williams had some good games early on for Charlotte. You know, I think he had a 2020 game or something like that. But there was some rumblings around Knicks Twitter and Knicks chats where it was like, oh, if Mitchell Robinson could just be, you know, we could have had this guy younger, cheaper, etc. And I think Mitchell Robinson took it personal because from the first game against them, he was dominating. And there's another one where that guy. I think Mark Williams is good. That's his name, right? I'm not.
Yeah. I believe that's it. That's his name.
I think he's good and he's going to be good. But I think Mitchell Robinson takes that matchup personally. You know what I mean? Like, I hear what y'all saying. I'm seasoned.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the longest tenured Knick. You know what I mean? Like I went through the Knicks and bruises, if you will.
There you go. It's true. That's true. John, what's your thoughts, brother?
Man, I mean, just like Tony said, I mean, we've always had matchup problems with, you know, Charlotte, you know, and I understand they didn't have LaMelo Ball, and I think there was someone else out. I forget whom. They were missing someone else, but either way, we run into matchup issues with that team, but they're a good, talented team. I think one of the things that we win out is that defensively we play better defense than they do as a team. You know what I mean? That's the biggest key, and which is why we were able to pull it out for the win. You know, that night. You know, we know how to close out games a little better than they can right now. So. But they're going to be trouble throughout the regular season. They're going to be a team to pay attention to, and they can go on. That's a team that I can see go in on a run. You know what I mean? Late in the season. So we just got to continue to, to focus in when we're playing teams like that and not let them get the upper hand. And I think, it's good to see the team play well. And I know Brunson didn't shoot a lot of shots, but it's good to know that, if the team is rocking, he's able to take a back seat and allow the team to do what they do. Because, there are moments in time where we're going to need him to close, and he needs to have, he has to be he can't be tired coming down the end of the games. You know what I mean? We need him rested and ready to go to hit a big shot at the end if it ever comes down to it.
Right. Brunson's got to be able to get into the Brunson form that we used to, man. But and I was really excited about that. When I found out about it later, I was like, oh wow, that's really good news. The fact that he only took 9 shots and we were able to win, made me feel really good about our chances going forward with this team. Like it says a lot to me. So that being the case, the Knicks got a little bit of momentum, going into the next game. And the next game on the docket, was going to be one that could be considered a trap game. So and a lot of Knicks fans, we know how we feel about trap games, man. The Knicks, back in the day, them trap games would get the Knicks caught up, bro. But we didn't have a Dante DiVincenzo. We didn't have a Josh Hart or a Jalen Brunson here. We're having these guys here. Those are the trap killers. You know what I mean? They help us break the traps. So, yeah, man. Our next game up was versus the Detroit Pistons, who, by the way, this was the last. See, this is why it's always interesting. You got to know the bottom line sometimes. This was the last chance for the Detroit Pistons to try to get a win for the month of November. They hadn't won for the whole month. That's crazy.
They was in their chat. No win November.
That's nuts. That's so crazy, man.
And they play it though. They were playing hard. That's a young team over there. They were playing really hard, and they were really trying to get that win.
Yes, they were. And but the Knicks wound up winning the game 118-112. Of course, a lot of Knicks fans were not happy about this. I mean, watching the game, it was a sloppy game. The Knicks definitely didn't play their best basketball. The good news is the bottom line, they got it done, but it was a lot closer than a lot of Knicks fans wanted. At one point, we were blowing them out, but then they cut the lead, and the young player they have, I think his name is Sasser, he was knocking down threes from everywhere, and then, kind of helped get them back into it. But the Knicks did win 118-112. And I think this was one where, let me see if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember off the top of my head. Yeah, it was. This was the one. This is the one where Jalen Brunson went crazy. 13 of 24, 54% from the field, 7 of 12 from 3, 58%. He had 42 points, 8 assists, 6 rebounds, 1 steal. Incredible game from Jalen. Dante chipped in 12. Julius Randle, 29, 10, and 8. RJ chipped in 15. He was 5 of 12 from the field. Not great, a little better than he's been. But those were the dynamic pieces for the Knicks. And as I said, for the Pistons, Sasser had 17 points, but they were pretty much all threes. Killian Hayes had 23 and Cade Cunningham had 31. So it kind of helped them stay close throughout that whole night. John, what was your thoughts on the Knicks versus Detroit and how that game went down? Sloppy, by the way, just so you guys know, because I know some Knicks fans was following, Jaylen Duren, the former Knick, we've had him for the draft at least until we traded him. The rights had 10 points and 12 rebounds. Go ahead, John. My fault.
Yeah, I mean, we got it done. It was like you said, it was sloppy. We got it done. It's one of those games that we were let go in the past, that we were not taking so serious and not been able to close out, especially with the way that the Pistons, made their comeback and was extremely aggressive on the defensive side. And they were forcing turnovers. There were calls that not going our way at the moment, and they were going on the opposite side and scoring in transition. So I think all in all, you got to give kudos to the Knicks for figuring out a way to get through a dirty, sloppy game. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep. Agreed. What was your thoughts, Tony, on that game? Because let me tell you one thing: if the Knicks would have lost that game, it would have been bad.
Yeah, I was ready to explode, ready to, you know what I mean? If Sim, I don't think Sim did a show, but I was ready to go live if he did a show or not had we lost that game, because I
Mhm.
would have had some things to say. But the people who were still upset after the fact, I don't understand that, man. I'll take a win by one against anybody.
Uh, that's a fact.
You know what I mean? Especially now that this point differential playing tournament
Oh,
situation.
it's a big
You know what I
deal.
mean? Now that that's out the way, that part's out the way. I'll take a 1 point win against anybody. So I mean, it was a lot to be upset about, but we pulled it away. And it was an opportunity for some other guys to shine and show their worth and their value when you know some of our main guys weren't performing. Um, what did strike me as weird, and because I don't follow them, but apparently because I look in the other team's chats.
Mhm.
Um, why is Ivy not playing? Like he's a third stringer right now. And especially coming off the year he had, I thought he had a pretty good year last year, all things considered. Now granted, Killian Hayes has matured and kind of grown, and he's definitely, you know what I mean, like he's a good player, but um, yeah, I'm just, it surprises me, and it makes me wonder about his availability, but that's a whole nother topic.
Yeah. I mean, look, you could second guess and say a whole bunch of things because you just never know what's going to happen with players. Sometimes players don't pan out, or sometimes it takes players many seasons to get where they need to go. Sometimes the fit where they're at, it doesn't work for them, and they just need to go somewhere else, different scenery, and kind of really get to what they're going to be in the league. I don't know what's going on with Jaylen Ivy in Detroit. I thought that if there was ever a position that he'd be in, Detroit might be it. They don't really have too much over there that I think he needs to worry about as a player as far as time and being able to do his thing. Cade Cunningham is probably the biggest piece that you got to, he's going to have the ball in his hands and be a focal point of the offense. But everybody else is kind of, they're still finding themselves, and they haven't really claimed, like, I'm that piece that, okay, after Cade, it comes to me. And so I think Jaden Ivey's still in that position where he could be that guy. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if he's just dealing with some growing pains. Like sometimes they always you say the NBA game is fast. Like so you got to get accustomed to the speed, and sometimes you don't get accustomed to it right away.
Is,
It
is
takes a little minute.
is it the same coach from last year in Detroit? Or is it a new
Um,
coach? Because to me, like, was there anything you seen last year that would have told you, um, oh, even with all his hype, that would have told you, oh, this guy is not who I thought he was coming out?
No, not for me. Jalen's that
mm-mm.
guy for me, but it's surprising to me. I just I thought he was playing, but now that you speak on it, I don't recall seeing him play against the Knicks. So that's
Yeah.
an interesting one. If he played any minutes, it was probably very minimal.
Yeah, and I'm going off like the Detroit chat, because I always, you know what I mean,
Yeah,
I always gotta do my homework. So I'll be listening, you know what I
that's
mean, I'll be
surprising.
intrigued by what they say, and a lot of them, they credit or discredit, but blame the coach. You know what I mean? Like, oh, why they asking the same thing?
Yeah,
Um, I
I mean
just
you could
figured, 'cause y'all talk about the league, y'all might have
you could
some insight.
possibly speak to the him not shooting it at a very high clip, as a potential reason for moving him down a tier, but not to give him minutes. That's crazy to me because he's so dynamic in the open court, right? Like, once you grab a rebound, you kick it out to him, he's got the ability to jump over you
Mm-hmm.
and score in transition, so I'm surprised by that move.
Well, I'll tell you this. he is shooting at 49% from the field, almost 50%. So that part is okay. He's shooting at 34.7% from three, basically 35%. That's league average. So that's okay. He's playing about 23 minutes per game. And he's only averaging 11.5 points. So I don't know if he's just not being dynamic enough on the offensive end, even though his efficiency is good. But I think if I know Dwayne Casey, because Dwayne Casey is the coach, Dwayne Casey's probably trying to instill a culture over there, and it starts with defense. And I don't know how he's looking on the defensive end. So that could be it. I'm not sure.
And that makes actually that makes perfect sense, because Killian Hayes, if nothing else, is a good defender.
Right.
You know, like the rest of his game is growing and getting better, and I think that's what's showing. But he's always been a good defender. And Cade, even if he's not the defender he should be at his size, he's still a average defender.
Yeah,
you know what
yeah,
I mean? And
he's not a
point guards. Then
right.
it intensifies.
Right. Yeah, the knock on Cade is really this. His whole game is very slow. He's very Andre Miller-ish. So yeah. But yeah. So I mean, maybe that's what it is, and maybe he's just not, because it could just be as little as that. Like Casey knows I got to play the guy. He's talented. He's getting minutes. He's just not out there when you would think he'd be out there, or playing more minutes because he hasn't bought into maybe what Casey's trying to do. It could be that. I don't, like I said, we're just speculating. We don't follow them. But that could be it. And I could see that being it, because just knowing who Dwayne Casey is. And this is a young team. Yeah, and shout out to the chat once again. Shout out to Kareem Grant in the building. Thomas Banks, what's good, brother? Appreciate you. My guy, Jigga Man Porto, is in the building. Morning Brew Sports. What's good? Salute to you guys. If you guys are not tuned in to Morning Brew Sports, Jigga Man, Phil, Hector, Jerry, then what are you doing? As my guy Hector likes to say. Let's get it together, man. Please go show your love, support them, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, man. Appreciate you guys. And as you can see, guys, I put it up there. Dwayne Dennis said, Thomas Banks was talking about it. Like, the Indiana Pacers knocked off Boston, so they are going to Vegas, and Boston will not be attending. So they're going to get a little rest, I guess, before their next game.
They play us on Friday then.
Yeah,
because we winning.
I see.
We winning.
Yeah, Tony. I like that. I see what you did there. Let's go. Okay, put that out there. It's it. Tony already put it out there. It's happening. It's done. I like that. Facts on facts.
And I'm gonna enjoy that matchup because we haven't seen the Pacers this year.
I mean, but isn't that beautiful? Wouldn't that be just a great setup for us?
Wasn't that we was just talking about?
I know that would be fantastic. Obi playing against the old team, Halliburton versus Brunson. Because I don't know if you guys realize. I think you guys do get it, and the Knicks fans are starting to get it. Everything that happens with Brunson and Halliburton is somehow connected. These two have become the polar opposites. Like, they're comparing these two, and it's probably going to happen forever. So it is what it is. All right. And that brings us to the last game of this week, in which this is when, people started to, a lot of people started to question, could the Knicks beat Toronto? We already know that Toronto plays us tough every time we face this team. They're just a matchup for us that just doesn't work for whatever reason. We might beat them, but it's always a struggle. So a lot of people weren't thinking the Knicks had a chance to beat Toronto, which I was kind of surprised. I thought, one thing that went into it was the fact that this was a back-to-back. So I can kind of get us playing Detroit, looking really bad against Detroit, going up against a Toronto team, which is not Detroit, and playing them off of a back-to-back. People started to question it. But I felt good about it. I thought we would win. And I'm happy that I was right, at least this one time, because usually when I predict, I'm wrong. So, but yeah, man. Knicks played the Toronto Raptors, and they wound up winning 119-106 in rather convincing fashion. It was a really, really good game for the Knicks. Toronto did fight and have runs at times where you started to say, okay, here they come. But the Knicks were able to hold them off and secure the victory. And the thing about this is, like, my thing is, when the Knicks play these teams that they haven't played yet this season, I'm always thinking, okay, well, now we got Josh Hart. We've had him for the second half of the season. Now we start the season with him, so he's helping this new vibe of the Knicks. Now we got Dante. They haven't seen us with Dante yet, so I'm like, how is this going to play out? So I'm looking forward to these moments. But the other teams got stuff. They got some new players on their teams, or even guys that are in new roles or playing differently that you're not accustomed to. And so for Toronto, that guy is Scotty Barnes. Because let me tell you something, Scotty Barnes is a bucket all of a sudden. This guy scored 29 points, had 9 rebounds, 4 assists, 5 steals, and 1 block against the Knicks. I don't know how you could play any better. For a young player like that, who he wasn't always the offensive threat. I mean, he might drop in a little 13, 14, 15 points, but like he's scoring comfortably now. So
he made it look easy too.
He made it look easy. Here's another thing. I'll come right back to it. Let me just say what else these guys had. Pascal Siakam had 21, 8 and 3. Jacob Porto had 12 and 12. And then Dennis Schroeder had 10 and 9. And I think Precious Achiuwa had 8 and 6. Okay. Coming back to the Scotty Barnes thing. This makes me feel even worse sometimes, bro. Because you guys remember the last time the Toronto Raptors played the New York Knicks, Scotty Barnes was going right back and forth with Quentin Grimes. And he told Quentin Grimes, you are not him. Oh, my God. I don't know. As a player, you know how mad I would be? Oof. Oh, you don't know I'll be mad. Oh, I'm not? Okay. Oh, you don't know. So anyway, I'm thinking Quentin Grimes has struggled. He's had a tough start to this season. He's going to go against Toronto. He's got to play this dude who said, you are not him. I'm thinking Quentin Grimes is at least going to try to give this dude the business. Yeah, man. Wasn't the case, folks. Wasn't the case. Quentin Grimes in this game played 21 minutes, finished with 4 points, 2 assists, and 1 rebound. Once again, I'm going to say it again. You guys didn't hear. Scotty Barnes, the guy who said, you are not him, who wasn't an offensive threat, had 29 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, 5 steals, 1 block. Oh, boy. Okay. In this game, RJ shot 6 of 18. He wasn't great. He finished with 15 points, 6 assists, which is nice, and 4 rebounds. Julius Randle had another solid game, almost another triple-double, 8 of 15 shooting, 20 points, 10 rebounds, 9 assists. Jalen Brunson didn't really have it going. Early, he was struggling. He wasn't hitting anything. But, as Jalen Brunson does, he goes on spurts, and he could just get hot, and it carries him. And next thing you know, he finishes with a respectable 42% from the field. 22 points, 8 assists. You guys noticed you hear 7, 8 a lot lately with Jalen Brunson. He's starting to move that ball. 5 rebounds for Jalen Brunson. Josh Hart had 17 and 8 and 2 assists. Emmanuel quickly had 10 points.
Not forget 15 in the third.
Oh yeah. Josh Hart had 15 points
in the third quarter.
Thank you, John. That's right. That was huge.
Straight, right?
Yep. Well, no, it wasn't straight, but for the most part,
straight for the Knicks.
Yeah.
15 straight buckets.
Crazy, bro. And then Dante DiVincenzo was tied his career high. 7 3-point shots he hit, 7 of 9 shooting, 77%, 7 of 10 from the field for 70%, finished with 21 points. Like, these guys stepped up and they looked great. The Villanova connection was in full swing.
Nova gang.
Yeah, man. Yeah. It was really nice to see. John, your thoughts on this Toronto game. But once again, I'm telling you, you can't make this stuff up. I cannot imagine what Quentin Grimes felt like after this game was over. But okay, go ahead, bro.
Yeah, I mean, listen, for me, the MVP of this game was Julius Randle. When we were down, he kept keeping us in the game. He kept fighting, kept making buckets. Both on the defensive side, he was active. Offensive side, he was, the player to be, to maximize, all of his tool set, everything that's in his tool belt, you know what I mean? He did in this game. And yeah, I mean, he was the biggest factor in keeping us in the game because Scotty Barnes was on one. And what's the young man's name? When um, the this little fast tall kid who's like always active, very active.
Precious Achua,
Was it
right? Oh no,
Achua?
no, it was
No,
Boucher. Yeah,
Boucher was
Boucher.
he was killing me in the third, right? Where he started going off in the second quarter, going into that. Then the third, he was like bringing all that energy. I was like, come on. And then nobody, like Barrett didn't have it going. Jalen Brunson didn't have it going. I was like, man, it's going to be a tough one if we got to come. But Julius kept hitting big buckets and keeping us right in the game. So I think, this game is more a testament to like what Julius brought to this game and allow for his teammates to actually get it going in the third quarter with, Hart coming going off for 15, which helped. I think I think we went up during that third quarter, right? Because we were down and then we sort of tied it and we went up after his run, and then DiVincenzo just pretty much held it down in the fourth, helped us lock it in. And then Jalen hit some big shots, coming down the stretch of that game as well. Also a good thing for the Knicks is that, for the most part, RJ Barrett's hitting his free throws. And that's key.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's a good point. He's been really, really good. He's been right now. He's currently shooting 81% from the free throw line, which is it's a nice thing. It's hopefully he can keep it up. But I mean, if he's in the 80s, and the Knicks have some really good free throw shooters on the team. Brunson's usually in the 80s. Quickly's usually in the high 80s. He used to be in the 90s. Hopefully, he can kind of get back to that level. But another person who could, the Knicks could really use him getting his free throw game back up is Julius, because Julius has been struggling from the free throw line, and he usually doesn't shoot this poorly. He shoots better from the line, so he needs to get it going there too. Tony, what's your thoughts on this game versus Toronto?
Yeah, Randall's problem was he would miss timely free throws in the past. So that's one thing I'll say about this year. The timely free throws he's been making. So I'll definitely give him his props on that. I agree with you guys. Randle balled out that game as well. It's almost like he was playing like a the best player in the Eastern Conference for this week or something. Nah, but seriously, what stood out? If I did do predictions, I know you guys said if you did it last week, y'all would have said 3-0. This would have been the game I would have been worried about. To be honest, Randle usually struggles against Toronto. That he doesn't usually fare well against length, and this was one of those teams that typically he doesn't play well against. And then Siakam last year in particular, I mean, what did he have? 50
he hit us with a 50 piece. Yeah.
You know what I mean? That was pretty much on Randall's head. So between that history and the fact that Grimes has been struggling, and ideally I would love for him to break out of his struggles in this game. I thought the likelihood of, if I had to like guess, I would have thought, Barnes might get in his head before he has a good game against Barnes, especially unless he was on a stretch. Then I'd be like, I would have been amped for it. But so this was the game I thought if we were gonna lose one, it would have been this one. But kudos to the Knicks, man. Like they defied, you know what I mean, my fears, because Randle had no problem with the length. I thought that's why he shot so many threes typically, but I mean, he played inside against Toronto and was still putting in work and creating damage. So, anything else stood out? I mean, everything you guys mentioned, but I mean, DiVincenzo, Josh Hart, the week he's had after his comments, you know what I mean, his best week. This was the best week for a lot of Knicks this particular week.
Yeah, no, it definitely.
Yeah, I think it's also a testament to Diehardknicks backpack. You know what I mean? He's got a lot of going on there. Is helping the Knicks out.
His back, he stole Duren's backpack.
I saw that. I didn't see what happened with that.
Hilarious.
What was the deal with the backpack?
They were cracking jokes on how he has the largest backpack in all of the NBA. It's like then Josh Hart was on I don't know if they were on the bus or something, and they were traveling. And he was like, "Man," he started singing "Backpack" from the Dora Explorer. Back. It's like he got all the types of tools in there.
Oh, that's funny, man. Yeah, these guys, listen, man, they got a good camaraderie going on over there. And really, even with what's going on with the fact that Fournier is not playing, you can see Fournier is still cheerleading. He's still, bigging up the guys on the bench when guys hit threes or do stuff. He's in the game with them. That's his team.
But I think he also knows who he's behind. Like he knows that, look, Deuce is getting in before I get the number called. So at this point, I know what it is. So I'm going to make the best of it, right? Until I'm moved. Like at this point, you just have to be a professional about it,
Yeah. I mean, that's true. And he definitely has been a professional, which I can appreciate that and can say I like to see that from him. The reason why I brought it up once again was just we've kind of talked about it in the past. Like Grimes just looks like he's starting to get a little disenchanted out there, and you don't want the young man to lose his spirit, lose the love for the game and stuff right now that's kind of brought you to where you are. There's a reason why you're an NBA player. So you kind of want to continue to see him not get down on himself and keep that same love for the game that he's had. And really, I mean, listen, I hope, I'm not saying who knows what happens, but it'd be nice if a guy like maybe even Fournier could talk to Grimes and say, look, man, it's business, a lot going on in this game. You still got, your whole NBA career ahead of you. You can turn this around and get back to where you was. Because if anything, he's got to respect it coming from a guy like Fournier, who can still play and is making $18 million sitting on the bench when he wants to be out there. So
in the perfect world, I agree with you, but we already know it was a click between Fournier, Cam Reddish, and
Derrick Rose, yeah,
and granted, that might have been what they needed, the three of them to click up mentally, and here's what I'll say: if there's a point where he's like out the rotation, or then I would he's gonna need that support, right? Somebody who's been there. But like I don't want him getting in his head and messing with his head while he's still in the rotation and potentially saying the wrong thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
And but I will give Fournier his credit. He has been actively participating in bench activities and cheering and during timeouts, and I'm just glad he hasn't spit on nobody.
Okay. Shout out to Steve Myers. What's good? Thank you to our viewers that are tuning in from Facebook tonight. Appreciate you, because we are up on Facebook tonight as well. My guy Steve, aka Sickalicious. We go way back. Appreciate you, brother. Dripmore in the building. That's right. The preferred barber of still Knicks fans and the Knicks community is here. Let's go. We here now, folks. All right, man. Appreciate you guys. Thank you for rocking with us. Please smash that like button if you can. Show some love for the show. Before we get out of here, want to touch on the Milwaukee game real quick once again. But before we get out of here, this is my PSA for the Knick family. Our fellow Knick fans. I put this out on X or Twitter, whatever the hell you want to call it. But this is the bottom line, guys. I've already talked about it within the show. This is context right here, okay? You see it. I said, what's wrong with my fellow Knicks fans? We are 12-7 with one of the toughest schedules in the NBA to start the season. Let's enjoy the team. You see us in the standings right there, 12-7, folks. Look to the left or to my right. Eastern Conference strength of schedule. New York for the month of December has the toughest schedule coming up. We've got all the adversity. We just fighting through it. Let's go, Knicks. Come on, y'all. We all right. We all right. 12-7, baby. Let's go.
Gotta take that.
That's why you gotta take care of the games you're supposed to.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Give yourself a little bit of cushion when things get rough. You know what I mean? But don't let up. Don't let up.
It's a long season. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. So you got to take care of what you can take care of, control what you can control. Outside of that, win those games. You know, it's hibernation season right now. So, you know, get fat as much as you can. And then when those 50-50 games come in, see if you could, you know, steal one. You can steal one a couple throughout the season. It's going to match very well when you hit the end of the season and you're sort of lining up for playoff positioning. You know what I mean? You got to have that.
Right. Yeah, man. That's right. John just coined the new phrase, man. Every so often gives you another one. It's hibernation season. So there you go. There we go.
Time to get fat.
Yeah, man. So real quick before we get out of here, just once again, your thoughts on tomorrow night's game with against the Milwaukee Bucks. This is our third time playing them. You know, I always say when we play Milwaukee, it's so historically when we played Milwaukee, we played them pretty well, but a lot of that has to do with Julius, because I feel like Julius and Giannis used to go back and forth a lot. And then a lot of you guys remember the past couple years, every time there was another narrative going around, every time we played Milwaukee, it was usually a nationally televised game. Then it was Julius Randle gets up for nationally televised games. Remember that narrative? So I'm just hoping
the Bucks too.
I think you're right. Man, you see what I'm saying? So I'm hoping we get at least that big game feel from Julius. It doesn't really matter if we get the big game feel or not, because Julius is playing like a big game feel every game now. So just keep coming into the game with the same mentality and play the way you've been playing. I think the Knicks will be fine, because Julius is one thing. The last time we played the Bucks, we did not have that Julius Randle that we're used to. So I think he's going to be the difference maker. If I had to pick one, he's the guy. Because the last time we played the Bucks, I mean, Jalen Brunson had 42. I mean, what more can the guy do? So I don't need him to give us 42. I just need the rest of the team to play like they've been playing, and for Julius to step up and just shoot a little better that tomorrow night's game. So, John, what's your thoughts on the Buck matchup tomorrow?
You know, it's funny. I actually want to hear from Tony before I go.
Really?
Tony,
okay, go ahead, Tony.
Because you know what? He already set the precedent. He said we're going to see who we're going to see on
Friday.
Yeah.
You know Facts.
Well, you put me under pressure, because I was going to do a little twist up too. But I think I'm confident that we could beat them. Obviously, I feel like we've played them well. I'm gonna give concerns, because I feel like, to your point, Ron, Randle usually plays well in those games against Giannis. Giannis obviously usually plays well. Let's call him a wash, right? Mm-hmm. Or even if we're gonna give advantage Giannis, right? Mm-hmm. And then we could go the same route with Dame and Brunson. And then again, if you want to call me biased, let's give the advantage. Let's give him Dame a slight advantage as well, right? So that puts us behind, but not by much, because I think Randle could do some things. I think Brunson could do some things. So where are these X factors coming from? So for us, it's got to be our shooters. DiVincenzo, it's got to be quickly, obviously, right? What kind of impact can Josh Hart bring? Is it going to be on the shooting end, on the rebounding end? Like, because it's not the same every game. You know what I mean? Like, we can't expect 5 threes from him every game. Right. You know what I mean? But it could be, but it may happen in a different way. I think we have more X factors. For them, though, their biggest X factor to me is Brook Lopez. Like he's the guy that kind of scares me. So what I was gonna ask you guys, because I'm torn in what direction I want to see the Tibbs go, right? Or the Knicks go. You remember last year, I believe it was. Granted, it didn't work. It didn't work for the whole game because Mitchell Robinson got in foul trouble. But Mitchell Robinson was guarding Giannis early in the game last year, at least the very first game. I don't know if Tibbs ever went back to it, and he did well in like the first like maybe 3 minutes or so. But then he picked up a foul, then picked up another quick one, and then I don't think we got back to it. But I thought the thinking in that was Randle on Brook Lopez defensively, and kind of limit maybe Julius's foul trouble, even though he doesn't tend to get in foul trouble against Giannis. It just has to be a collective. I think what they were trying to do is kind of see what we could do one-on-one. Like how much can Mitchell Robinson guard Giannis, right? Because you don't got to worry about the shooting threat as much. Giannis is very crafty, especially for his size. So it could get tricky. But just that matchup, I want to see it at some point. You know what I mean? I want to see if that could be something that, if it works, I think it changes the dynamic because it takes away Brook Lopez's threat. Or what he does by bringing Mitchell Robinson away from the rim. Because to me, that's the biggest thing that could hurt us. Even if Brook Lopez doesn't hit threes, the fact that he's got to draw, Mitchell Robinson's got to respect it. It takes away from Robinson's strengths, grabbing the rebounds, protecting the rim, etc., etc. So that's my only concern, and it all ties to me to Brook Lopez. Like,
right?
If he's that threat, because a lot of times Mitch, he still won't. He's not gonna guard him on the perimeter. He's gonna guard him in a space where he feels like he could reach him if he has to. You know what I mean? He's always protecting the rim is always going to be his priority, and sometimes that hurts us with Brook Lopez.
Yeah, John, what's your
yeah.
thoughts on it?
Listen, Tony hit it right on the nose. That's the player I'm most concerned about was Brook Lopez. That's what I was going to say right before you said it. I was like, we got to contain Brook Lopez. We not only have to contain him on the glass, but also on the defensive side of the ball. We have to have we have to figure out a way to move him away from that rim because he is so solid. He's a solid rebounder. He's a great help defender. And so he causes fits down there. We aren't able to get second chance opportunities because he's, between him and Giannis, they're taking all the rebounds. You know what I mean? And so for me, he's the biggest impact player that they have right now. And Middleton is who he is. He's still working through injury right now, so I don't know how much of an impact he's going to have. So for me, if Barrett could take advantage of that matchup, that's going to benefit us. And I actually would like to see Hart on Giannis a lot more than we've done in the past. I think just not allowing him to be comfortable driving the ball, getting at his handle a little bit more. You know what I mean? Forcing him to be a sort of back to the basket type of player is what I want to see. Because, once he gets his motor going, he's like unstoppable if he gets going downhill. So you want to disrupt that. And having players like, a Josh Hart who could get right underneath him could potentially affect that. So I want to see that action more versus Julius Randle. I want to keep Julius from being in foul trouble and let him impact the game offensively. But Tony, you hit it on the nose. To me, the impact player on Milwaukee side is definitely, without a doubt, Brook Lopez and what he can do. Dame is going to do Dame in the fourth. So with that, we got to hope that Brunson matches that. But as far as, impact, it's definitely Brook Lopez.
Yeah. I'm with both you guys with regards to that. I mean, Brook Lopez is a problem. I mean, I think the last time we played them, he had like 5 blocks. No, he had 8 blocks Crazy. Like it was something wild. Like, no, he's a problem. And the Knicks cannot play into the hands of what Milwaukee's trying to do with regards to that. And I think they won't. I think just like, because I will say, we've already played Milwaukee a few times, and I think Milwaukee, we saw how they played us that last time. They made an adjustment, and they knew that just feed guys to Brook. Brook's going to clean it up. They just knew how to play us. So I would hope Tom Thibodeau has a game plan, a little bit of a wrinkle, like, okay, this is what they tried to do to us. No, let's do this. Like, I like to see some gamesmanship from Tibbs, and I hope that he can orchestrate something. Tony, to your point, like, I don't love it because I don't want Mitch getting into foul trouble trying to deal with Giannis. But then again, I'm like, well, at least with Giannis, like Giannis can't really stretch the floor consistently unless it's just one of them nights, so that might benefit Mitch. Now, if you put Mitch on Brook Lopez, Brook is going to pull him out of that paint. He's going to have to kind of stay, close enough. So I do like that part of it. And I think with Brook, as far as Randle goes, Brook's not taking Randle off the dribble. So I mean, that might work. We'll see how they play it. I think the versatility is really going to help because once Hartenstein comes into the game, now you got somebody who kind of go with the flow on both sides. We'll see. But that's interesting. I think you might be on to something there. That might be better for the Knicks overall, as long as Mitch plays smart.
Again, I'm not confident in it because we haven't seen it since the first game we played Milwaukee last year, and I don't recall seeing it again, other than maybe like a play here in the switch or whatever the case. But when I saw it last year, I was like, especially the first, it was like almost 3 minutes that Mitch was holding his own. Giannis still scored, but it wasn't easy for him. You know what I mean? And it was 1-on-1, so it allowed us to focus. Everybody focus on a man. Nobody's out of position. Now, granted, it may come to the point, like you said, if Giannis is on fire, we gotta build a wall. We gotta everybody gotta load up on him. But that makes the team dangerous all across the board now. Miller, as bad as Middleton is playing, you don't want him with open shots.
He'll get hot. Yeah.
You don't want Dame with open shots. You don't want Brook with open shots. So,
Right
about that. Not a cakewalk, but big challenge, man. I'm up for it. And
be exciting. I'm looking forward to seeing Mitch Robinson pull out something else from his bag. You know what I'm saying? Like pull Brook Lopez out and get some 1-on-1 going. You know what I'm saying?
Shoot a three. Hit the rim. Hit the rim, but shoot a three. That would be something interesting.
Or drive on him. Like get a set. Like get the ball in the post. Everybody move. You got the quickness to get past Brook, so go at him. You know what I mean? Just use your speed.
I mean, I think Mitch might be able to put Brook in the blender, because if it wasn't for the fact that
help defense,
the help defense came, he might have freaking.
He had something on that.
One for a flat.
Man. It would have been crazy, bro. I think that people would have went nuts.
Listen, I would challenge, like if I was like the Knicks, I will challenge Mitchell Robinson to take Brook Lopez 1-on-1 to get him in foul trouble and force them to put Bobby Portis in. Force him. Because the reality is he's not as quick-footed as a Bobby Portis. So to stay in front of Mitchell Robinson, if he's on a go, like especially during the go route, like you know how they always handing off the ball, like they do the fake handoff, just hold it.
Right.
Turn and go. Let everybody separate. Turn and go. Because now he got to catch up to you. Speed-wise, you ain't catching him.
Yep.
Like Brook ain't. You know what I mean? I would roll that out like a couple of times.
And I'm with you, bro, because that makes sense. Because the more you can keep Bobby Portis in that game, the better off. Because even though he's a good defender, he's not a disruptor the way Brook is. Yeah. No, I think we got a plan. Let me call Tibbs. Hold on.
Wait. Hit him on that big phone.
Yeah, after the show. Anyway, man. So this is dope, man. Really good conversation. I'm glad my guy Tony can or should I say our guy Tony? I say that my stuff a lot. So, excuse me. Our guy Tony could come in and chop it up with us. Appreciate you as always, brother. MBK for life. But
he's one of ours. That's how
yeah.
they say it.
Come on, man. But yeah, final words, Tony. Like, what's going on? When's the next time we'll see you on the show?
Well, I'm definitely gonna do a look. You know what? You see me post game tomorrow night. NBK, obviously Losers Lounge tomorrow night. The buck stops here. I think that's the tentative title. And then you'll see me soon. You'll see me soon. I'm glad I made it here. Hopefully I can make it to one of them Saturday joints. But I'll be just getting home. I'll put you on and listen, thinking it's about to end. And then I'm like, yo, it's been 2 more hours. I could have jumped in there. But I'm gonna catch one of them. I'm gonna jump on one of them. Shout out to the chat.
It's crazy, Tony. But just understand, whenever I'm on, just understand, you come on, you might extend the life of the show. So just pop in. It's okay. It's all right, brother.
We're going for another 3 hours.
Yeah, man. Shout out to my guy 713 Gamer Flame. What's good, my brother? He says Mind Hunter for president. That's my gamer tag on PlayStation. So watch out. Don't come get the beats, B. Watch out. John, your final words, my brother.
Man, it's always a pleasure, Tony. Thank you for joining us today. Thank you to the chat. Much love. Man, stay good out there, man. Stay blessed, stay healthy, and looking forward to the next one. I'm out of here.
Oh man, you see that? Couldn't said it better myself. Oh man, another one. Hey, all my PlayStation peeps. What up, Woogie? All right, okay, let me stop.
And thank you, Ron, for joining me earlier. I know I said it, but let me say it again. Thank you for joining me.
Yeah, man. No, it was a pleasure. Anytime I can chop it up with fellow MBKers or even other content creators, man. We all try to if there's time, we love to chop it up and have a conversation, man. There's so many good content creators out there, and just fortunate for us as SKF to be a part of NBK and have that great level of dialogue and conversation amongst ourselves. So it's dope. So anytime, always a pleasure.
Yeah, same here, by the way, although my schedule is kind of crazy. But what I mean? Once it starts to clear up, I'll be better.
It's a pleasure whenever I could get either one of you guys on, anybody from, like you said, any content creator, but obviously MBK. That's where it started. So
home team
right there.
Home team.
Gotta reach out to you guys first. You know what I mean?
No doubt.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you as always. Well, guys, listen, and thank you to the chat. Please, guys, smash that like button on your way in. Smash that like button on your way out. As I always say, tell a friend who tells a friend who tells another friend. Still Knicks fans, we'll be back again, whether it be on Monday nights at 9 p.m. for SKF Weekly with your man's Ron, my brother John, and my boy Jose holding it down on the ones and twos. Pew, 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 pew. He's not here to do that, but you get it. Next Monday, you'll see him again. Whether it be on Thursday nights for the NBA wrap-up at 8:30 on NBK, that's right, Nothing But Knicks, or on Saturdays at 11:30 a.m. for Know the Ledge. So please continue to support the shows. We're going to keep coming back with more and more content. Let's go Knicks, man. Let's do what we got to do tomorrow. Take care of some business so we can knock out this new rivalry that's happening with Indiana on Friday. Let me tell you something, how great it's going to be to play Indiana on Friday. Obi's coming back. We're going to be going up Halliburton versus Brunson. Let's put it into the air. It's in existence. Let's get us there. Let's do it. I'm with Tony on this one. Let's go. All right, y'all. Thank you for tuning in once again. We'll catch you on the next one. Have a safe, rest of your night and evening. And let's go Knicks, man. We out.
Freedom over fame. Freedom over cycle stays the same.